G'day guys and welcome back to another episode of the Bradley J. Driver Experience. Another one live here in the flesh. Back-to-back pods today. I love it. The energy's high.
Busy.
We're up here in Sydney in the Shire area. Beautiful little spot. And I'm here with another cracker guest. This guy is the latest signing under the YKTR banner. He's the man that's going to be running the lifestyle part of their pods. Plenty of great stories, plenty of great yarns. He's a big, handsome-looking fella, and that's what it's all about. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here with Simi, Jordan Simi from Jordan's Room. How are you, brother?
Nice to meet you, man. Nice to finally meet you guys.
Really good to finally meet you, bro. It's
Yeah.
first time I actually ever heard about you. It was funny because obviously you were starting to feature in the boys' content, but I think it's when they started sharing a bit of stuff. And bro, you scored a hat trick for one of our local clubs, West Illawarra.
Oh, is that your guys? Is that your both yours?
That's
Just
where
yours?
a lot of my mates play. So
Yeah, bro. That was funny actually because Latsy, Jeremy Lattimore.
Yeah.
So he had like a mate. I think he was captain coach down there, and I was at a party one night, and he calls me. And we were just talking shit, and he goes, "Oh, I'm playing footy next weekend," and I haven't played in a minute. I used to play union like years ago. I stopped playing probably about 2021, and then I was like, "Fuck, I'll come for a run, for a laugh, just to see if I still got it." And then the comp wasn't that hard, It was just all whatever. It just wasn't hard at all. But
Yeah.
So we went down there, that day, and then fuck it, it was just a good laugh, man. But my body was so sore the next day. I didn't play
Fucking hope it would be,
in a few years, so I'm surprised my hamstrings held up as well. So yeah, it was. I actually like playing. The boys down there were pretty funny as well.
Yeah, they're a good bunch
loose.
of lads, eh? There's
Yeah.
a couple of lads that we run with. One of the boys, Joey Dicko. Shout out to Joey. He'd be
Shout
listening
out,
to
Joey.
the pod. He plays lock there.
Oh, true.
Yeah,
I fucking enjoyed it, but I think it was more towards the back end of the season.
Yeah.
And then I was supposed to play the weekend after, and then I ended up just going on a bender the night before, and then so they were calling me up, and I go, I fucked up.
That's so
fucked
funny.
up.
Hey,
Sorry, I won't swear. Sorry.
No,
sorry.
you can throw swear.
Oh,
Go
sorry,
for it. Freedom of speech here on the
Yeah.
experience, brother. It's like I said, it's a pleasure to have you on, and people are going to start seeing a whole lot of you. And the reason I reached out to you, man, is I kind of wanted to get in early because I'm like, I can see that your personality, it carries through in all the content that the boys put out, and you're a very likable character. Like,
Thanks,
you're
I
the kind
appreciate
of guy
that,
bro, people are going to get around you. I have no doubt that your pod's going to do really well, and the stuff you're talking about is very topical.
Yeah.
It's very on
man.
trend and on brand, and I'm pumped to see the content. But I guess for a lot of the people listening to this here today, they might be, future fans of Jordan's Room, which is the name of your pod, and they may be following you on the socials now and getting around those first eps to come very soon. But really excited to hear about your journey to begin with. Like, how has this all started? Where did you begin, and how did you get to where you are now?
Mate, I moved over from New Zealand. I was probably about 14, 15. Moved to Perth. Played footy over there. Then I sort of was just over Perth. I moved around a lot. I've moved around a lot, Australia a lot, and I moved to Kalgoorlie, which is like a little mining town, and that was just such an experience. I lived there for about 4 years, just in the middle of the desert. It's like a gold mining town. It's like the Wild West. Just everyone's you do sort of 4 weeks on, 1 week off, and then that 1 week off, you're just in that town, just partying up.
So you're working in the mines?
Yeah, I was working in the mines for about 4 years, and then moved to Sydney. This is just fast forwarding it all, but yeah, moved to Sydney after those 4 years, and I actually met Chico first out of all the boys. So he was my first mate out of all of them, and he introduced me. Oh, sorry. They went over to Bali and met my cousin over there. And anyways, just randomly, and then anyways they came back. My cousin came over, and then we all linked up at Ravisi's one Sunday, Harvey, and then I don't know, sort of just got along with the boys. Like, we hung out here and there and partied a fair whack, and then me and Normie were just hanging out heaps. And Chico moved up to Brisbane to play for the Broncos, and Normie was looking for a housemate, so I ended up moving down here. And for a minute, I'd always say to Ice, let me on, and get me on one of the potties and stuff. And it wasn't really the change sort of on like the direction or the direction that they were going sort of didn't. All this didn't really come about until maybe about 2 years ago. Like,
Yep.
Because I moved down to Melbourne.
Yeah, I spent a bit of time in Melbourne too.
Yeah, I moved down there to me and my ex-girlfriend. We lived in Melbourne, and she was working down there. So I relocated down there, and so we most likely would have started this whole thing probably about a year ago if I didn't move down to Melbourne. So,
Yeah, wow.
But I spoke to Ice when I was moving back up here, and he had always been keen to get me on, to start the podcast and all that jazz. So I slowly started coming on the companion, which Scope does,
Yep.
with watching the footy live, and I'd just get pissed and talk shit, and then I think we just sort of seen this sort of coming along the way, but it would have been probably about 2 months ago, about 2-3 months ago. Ice and I were sort of sitting at this pub in Bondi, and I said to him, man, I want to start my own podcast, like, give me my own platform. And he just goes, what, he's always open to anything. He's always open to, but you have to sort of come to the table with an idea, or, what you're going to do and how you're going to sort of change things up. And I said, well, why don't I interview, females? Why don't I interview girls? And
Real call her daddy vibes, eh?
yeah, real call her daddy vibes, and or call her mummy, whatever you're into. But no,
Oi, I've heard some stories about this morning. Maybe call her fucking old girl.
Yeah, fuck, that was funny
down
as.
at the pool, bro.
That was so funny, man. That was fucked up, actually. But grateful for the opportunity. But yeah, she. So, we sort of at that moment we sort of clicked, and over the period of 2 months, we just talked about, we'd go out and have a few drinks, and we'd talk about it, and then I think it would have been sort of the start of Jan. He messaged me. He just goes, meeting tomorrow, 9 a.m. Like, don't be late. Yeah, and I sort of ran downstairs. I go, are you guys meeting with like Ice tomorrow at 9 o'clock? And they're like, nah. So, but it was pretty cool. So we spoke about it. We had a meeting, and then he just said, man, like, we'd love to have you on board, and let's fucking because the thing is like with YKTR and YKTR Sports is it's a lot of you're talking about a lot of footy and basketball and NFL, and you're always going to get the boys around that, but I think Ice was keen, and the boys were keen to try and get a different audience involved as well, like complex sports and complex, and so I think I'm not going to just be interviewing girls as well. It's I'm going to get a few of the boys on there, and next week I'm getting like a sex therapist, psychologist on, talking really in depth about shit like that. So
you know what I like, and I said it, in a real genuine way when we began this, that I really do think you've got star power, man. Like, I think, especially the way that you're going to approach this, like, you're such a likable personality. There's no real ego about you when you meet you. Like, you're a really easygoing guy.
Yeah.
And I think they're the topics that people kind of want to hear. The stuff that maybe is a little bit taboo to talk about with your mates or in your friend group. I think as well, like, I think in Australia and New Zealand, and we've got people that follow us in the UK. It's sort of hard to talk, especially with YKTR. It's hard to talk about that stuff with footy players and things like that. And sometimes people, as you said, taboo. A lot of people can be a little bit scared to talk about, all that shit. So I just thought I don't really have a filter, and I'm pretty open to sort of discussing all that stuff. And I just hope that it comes out the right way when we launch it, which I think it will. When people get to watch the first few episodes, I think they'll get the gist of it. So, because I've asked so many girls to come on, I'm like, come on, and I think it's a bit nerve-wracking because YKTR Sports, it's just all dudes, and it's a very male-dominant audience at this point in time.
Exactly, bro. So, it's the first we've recorded 3 episodes, and they were a proper giggle. I did one with Ice. That one was pretty raw. So but it was raw. I listened to it, but it was good, bro. Like, to hear a little bit of your story and to hear your foundations and where you're coming from with this. I think there's a real audience there that'll appreciate that. Yeah, and I think the cool thing is that I didn't play professionally. you know, I'm just a normal person, you know. So I think it's cool to sort of be on the inside and like, you know, just tell people what's actually, you know, what's going on the inside. So
100%.
Yeah, it's good. It's been crazy, man. Like the idea of this whole thing probably launched maybe about 4 weeks ago.
Yep.
When he put it up, and my socials have just been insane. Like I was on like maybe like 7,000 something followers, and then over the 3 weeks it's grew to almost 12,000.
Yeah, that's great.
And like I've been getting like a lot of good feedback from people. The girls that have come on recently, you know, they said they thought it was going to be like a totally different experience, and they absolutely loved it. And
that's great to hear, isn't it? When you just enjoy being a part of the show, and
100%.
You feel like you're creating an environment that's nice to sit and chat within.
It is, man. So yeah, I definitely think it's gonna go really well. I think one thing that I haven't really gotten used to yet, and it's fucking pretty. Sorry about swearing.
No, bro, go for it. Honestly.
Okay, sweet. It's pretty strange. We'll go to like Coogee or up in Byron, or you know, go out and just randoms, you know, hitting me up for photos and stuff. Like I'm not used to that stuff, and I, believe it or not, I actually get really bad anxiety. Like,
oh, bro, I can imagine.
So that it's so weird because I don't want to come off as rude, you know, like so when I meet people, you know, I try to just, you know, give that time, but I don't want to be eat us, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to think that I'm too cool to like say hello, but I genuinely get anxiety when that happens. I sort of just want to run the other way. But
there's kind of a running joke around our group of mates where, you know, because this is called the Bradley J. Driver Experience, which is a little bit of a play on Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
You know, the boys call me the experience to take the piss. Go for it, bro.
Cool.
The boys call me the experience to take the piss, and it's you know,
that's
quite
a
often
cool nickname. That's a good nickname.
Quite often we'll be out at coffee or whatever, and the boys will say, "Oh fuck, I wonder if anyone will recognise the experience." No one's ever recognised me, but you know, maybe one day, bro.
It'll come, bro.
Maybe one day.
Like, thankfully, the boys obviously already had a platform, because I've actually always wanted to work in radio. I've always had the idea to start a podcast, but you know, it always comes back to the question, like, how do I do it? So like, thankfully the boys already have a massive platform, so for me to join in and be a part of that, it's like sped the process up a lot faster. So
definitely.
So like, I mean, I haven't even dropped one episode yet, and it's just starting to.
That's so good to hear.
Yeah.
I'm stoked for you, brother.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it.
One of the things that some people may or may not know, if you follow the YKTR content, you probably will, but a lot of your personality within that crew has come from the Scope versus Simi. Yeah. That sort of vibe, which I remember, you know, the race that was, you know, heavily anticipated and promoted quite publicly, and there was definitely some in-house bets going on there on who was going to get the win. But
that was funny because you know, I wasn't too bad at footy coming through, you know, when I was younger. I was always like, you know, people say you got to train and stuff like that. It was just like almost like a natural talent. Like I didn't really train or anything, but you know, when I went up against Scope, like it almost tore my bloody hamstrings. I didn't run in a proper minute, and but yeah, that whole few weeks, I think it sort of got. Before that, a lot of people were like, you know, who's this random guy that's just, you know, jumping on the companion and stuff. So I think that whole process gave a lot of people, you know, a bit of an idea of who I am as a person. And, you know, I'm just a fucking bit of a weirdo, a bit of a random cunt sometimes. But I think it sort of made my own character within the group. Yeah,
of course.
You know, so, but that was a cool experience. It was a bit of a laugh. And then the basketball one came out. It didn't get gassed up as much because I beat Scope. So it's sort of like, Simi won all. And I'm like, okay, cool.
Push
nice.
That one under the rug.
Oh, mate, straight away. I was, you know, it was funny.
No sponsored promotions.
No, nothing. No, you know, how many times did they post Justin on there? And then when I won the basketball, it was like, Simi won, on to the next. And I'm like, mad. But I think that was like a bit of a taste on where it can go, because we had heaps of NRL players there. We had an AFL like Ali, he jumped on board. Yeah. And you know, I think, you know, if the COVID situation wasn't happening, we could look at hosting something like that. You know how over in the US they do the All-Star games and and you know they pull a bit of a crowd. I definitely think you could do something like that. And with the YKTR platform, they've built trust with a lot of the players, and you know, so they're happy to jump and get involved. So I think was he talking about the golf day that there's?
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
I think that's going to be really fucking awesome, mate. That's going to be a really, really good laugh. So hopefully, I'll jump and get involved in that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we were actually supposed to. You know how the All Blacks were here? Like a few months ago, or like a month ago, whatever. Just before they played Argentina, we had organised. Ice and I went for breakfast with them, and I don't know about you guys, but in New Zealand, All Blacks are.
Bro, they're kings.
They're like it's like Superman. You know, you meet an All Black, you look at them, it's like they're just like they're not real. You know? They're like a Marvel superhero. So we went for breakfast, and I buckled. I just was quiet the whole time, and but we had organised to do a golf day, So I was going to partner up with, I think, Aaron. Yeah. And then
he's a gun player.
Yeah, gun player. And then Scope was going to go with TJ, and we were going to do Scope versus Simi.
Oh, and Aaron TJ's that's a rivalry.
2 All Blacks as well. Yeah, the halfback. So, that was getting organised to play that in Bondi, and that was going to be pretty cool. But then I think they lost to Argentina, and then they had to just refocus. And
of course,
I think they just needed to focus on that next game, and they ended up pumping them. But that would have been something special too, because
definitely.
So
I want to jump in there quickly.
In the future, it would probably come about.
I want to jump in there quickly. You guys might be listening to this and hearing a bit of noise in the background. Shout out to Jim's Mowing. They've decided to mow the lawn next door to us. Man.
Will that be loud?
No, it should be sweet, bro. It should be sweet. We're talking pretty loud over the top of it. But, you know, we're sitting out here in nature. It's quite nice. It's quite a nice change of environment.
Apart from the fucking dog shit.
Yeah.
Shout out to Scope's dogs.
Yeah, so it's always cool, you know, when you organise a pod, you want a nice quiet room, like a studio vibe. And, you know, we're out the back here and Jim's Mowing's next door. The cicadas have decided to have a fucking time of it. Mate. The cicadas sound like they're on a fucking goonay bender out the back here.
How does this go, bro? I'm keen to, 100%.
I don't drink, so I can't sit here and give advice on the goonay. But from what I've heard, it hits.
I'll be the judge for sure.
The boys will be around it. You know, it's funny, you're talking about they're freezing in front of the All Blacks, and you know, maybe an inside scoop for some people here. One of my probably favourite athletes of all time is Sonny Bill Williams. What a guy.
Mate, yeah.
And, you know, I'm a Rooster supporter, so you know, we had some good years with Sonny Bill on the fringe there. And it's funny, I was walking over from the beach the other day, finished a run, jumped in the water, usual morning routine. I'm walking over and I just see this G-Wagon pull up at the intersection to turn the corner, and I look and he's got his window down. It's Sonny, and I go, "Oi, Sonny." And I didn't know what to say because he looked at me, and I go, "You're the man." I just gave him the shackers, and he just gave me shackers and a head nod. I was like, what the fuck? That's so weird. Yeah. I've never seen, I don't know, a few people have seen him around town lately, so he might be a gong boy now. Well, I don't know.
Bro, like, you know, back in the day, in New Zealand, Sonny Bill's like king, you know?
Yeah.
And I remember one time I was at Coogee. This is my story of doom, like, makes me so happy. But anyways, I'm just chilling there, and then the Rooster Boys are having a feed. And like out of all the Rooster Boys, I've never met him before. He just walks past and goes, "Hey, bro," and like randomly shakes my hand. And I'm after that, I was sitting with my ex, and I just was like, my life's made, man. He's king, bro. He's the best.
Were you pitching a tent? I would have been.
Oh man, she's like, "How do you know him?" And I'm like, you know how it is. Yeah, he
texted me before. He said, "Come past for a brew."
Come for a feed. Nah, but yeah, he's king, man.
So let's talk a little bit about your art. You're quite an artistic and creative character, and actually, there's a few things I want to roll off the back of here. You know, we talk about creative and artistic characters, and bro, I'm a massive fan. You know, I was talking with Scope about American sports and those personalities, the theatre of it, and you know, I love getting around my fashion. I love being a little bit authentic and a little bit different to what everyone else is. I think that's just my vibe. I don't like following the pack. And bro, you're exactly the same. You know, I was watching 10 in the Ken the other day. You're sitting up there, shades on, jacket on, just looking doozy in the corner, and then you're painting pictures. Like, I'm around it, bro.
Well, the funny thing is, like, as I was saying to you earlier, I get really bad anxiety, and not crippling, but it's there. But initially, I started wearing my shades because I'd never done any camera work or anything before, so I used to wear my glasses, and I do when I go out as well. Sometimes I wear my glasses because because of my anxiety.
Yeah.
So it's almost like people can't see me, but I wear my glasses, so it's almost just like a safety blanket for me, you know. So, and then it looks cool at the same time. But at majority at the start, I'd wear them to sort of just feel comfortable, and they became a thing. And even it's funny though, me wearing them heaps. This Specsavers reached out and they're sending me a fucking.
That's so good.
They're sending me 3 pairs of sunnies and 1 free pair of prescription sunnies.
You know what's epic,
glasses,
right?
yeah.
I've got shit eyes, right, from
Yeah,
the distance,
yeah.
and I used to cop a bit of flack off the boys because especially in summer, you go out of an arvo and you'd be out, one of the local places down home is Pepe, so it's right on the beach, so it's bright, right? Like you're outside most of the time.
I've got to go out down there, eh?
Bro, Pepe's is nice.
I've never been.
Good on a when you reckon Finny knows better than me. Finny gets around to drink. Friday,
Saturday, yeah.
Maybe like Saturday night, Saturday arvo. You get there when it's nice, and Sunday session. It's a good vibe down there, but you get there and it's sunny.
Yeah.
And you don't want to have to fucking a belt on with your night specs and then your day specs, like so you're just rocking in your sunnies, and 100%. You kind of forget that you're rolling into the night, and next minute, to be able to see people and say, because people walk past me all the time. They're like, fuck, bro, I ran past you and you didn't say g'day. And I'm like, I can't see you, bro.
Yeah.
But, when you're out, so I'm just like, fuck, I still want to see people.
100%.
So I keep my sunnies on, and I used to cop a bit of flack from the boys.
Nah. I always wear my sunnies out,
Yeah.
especially even at night time too. Maybe I'm a little bit off my head, but...
Maybe I just have to do it shamelessly now, eh?
My eyes are cross-eyed by then, so I'm just fucking cruising. But
Let's talk about the art.
Yeah,
You're quite an artistic character. We're sitting here. You wouldn't be able to see it on the cam, but... We're sitting here. We'll get a thumbnail in front of it.
Yeah, 100%, bro. Yeah.
We're sitting here. We're looking at what's a ginormous painting, and it's such a vibe, man. Plenty of colours.
Yeah.
Something little doozy print on there,
mate. With my art, like I've always been sort of, as you said, like a bit out there, like I just sort of do what I want, paint my nails, like. People find it a little bit weird, but I've always been into art. I only started painting about 1.5 years ago, though.
That's it.
Yeah, so I was living in Melbourne. Sort of the COVID just started, and they were sort of pretty strict on what was going on there. People started losing their jobs, and I actually lost my job down there. So I was sort of like, shit, what am I going to do? Because I'm still a New Zealand citizen, so you can't get all the benefits and all that jazz. So anyways, I sort of went into the garage one night, and I painted this painting and chucked it up on Instagram for a giggle, and my Instagram, heaps of people were like, man, this is sick, do you paint, and blah blah blah. And then so I just started painting from then onwards, and I think I was selling them for around 100 to 300 at the start, but I just started selling consistently, and then went up from there to like 800, and then in the 1.5 years, like I've been selling them for about 1,200 to $2,000 each.
Fuck, that's sick.
So when I first moved here, what happened is I started getting a lot of custom requests.
Okay.
So
is that stressful?
Oh mate, it's fucking so stressful. So what happened was I was painting my own stuff, but then I had to think about these customs. So I was getting about 5 to 6 people hitting me up per week. So I was making a lot of cash, and this was about 8 months ago when I moved here, and it was around 4 to 5 per week I was getting. So it was piling up massively.
Yeah.
So then it was actually taking away from my own artwork that I was wanting to paint, and even the thought process behind myself painting was sort of going out the door, because I was thinking about what other people
becomes work.
Yeah. So that sort of stressed me out. I'm almost finished. I've got 2 more custom pieces that I need to complete. I've been doing one for 2 people. I've been working on this one piece at the moment for the past 6 weeks. But the hard thing as well with the custom pieces is so many people were like, man, where's my piece? When can I get it? When can I get it? And then even a few of them, I'd send them photos, and they'd be like, oh, can you change this? I don't like that color. Can you move that? Can you change that color? So that whole time period was really stressful. So I've had a bit of a break over the past 3-4 months, just because I just wasn't enjoying it.
Yeah.
I wanted to get these pieces out because a lot of people are like, man, where's your artwork? And so it sort of not made me hate it. I just needed to have a bit of a break and finish all these custom pieces off and just get that process down packed. But I spoke to one of my friends, and you're considered a sellout if you paint custom pieces. So do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like if you're not staying true to your own art, then that's they're considered a sellout. So I think after these two pieces, if I'm going to do a custom piece, I'm probably just going to jack it up to like $5,000. So they either say no or it makes it worthwhile, makes it worth the stress. So
art's a funny thing, isn't it? Because it either hits or it doesn't for certain people. And what hits for one person doesn't hit for another, and you know.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, bro.
And it's such like it's one of those cultures, bro, that if your stuff starts hitting with enough people just get around it for the sake of it.
Yeah, mate. The momentum was insane. Like I was getting hit up by magazines for interviews.
Wow.
People over in LA were hitting me up for pieces. A gallery hit me up to sign me on and just do exclusive work through them.
Yeah.
It was actually really overwhelming, and I just didn't really know how to handle that pressure because,
Is it the pressure that moved you away from that decision to take that path?
Yeah. Well, I still really want to paint, but there's a few other things in life that I want to focus on. Bro, do you reckon you could shut that? Sorry, man.
Happy bros. A couple of flies around here.
I sort of just wanted to focus on other things first, finish off these custom pieces, and then look for even a studio space just to get out of home as well. Because I painted these things at the back of the house here. Like I was just painting at the back here. It's quite nice, but sort of would be good to get out home. And you actually get a little bit lonely because you like I'd be in the garage or out the back here painting like back to back, and you just got your headphones in, not talking to anyone, and it was that momentum was just insane because people started hitting me up for artwork when I'd go out drinking, and it just moved so quickly. I couldn't believe it because so many artists that I had met over that year and a half were like, mate, people don't sell artwork for years, or sometimes they don't even sell their artwork. But it got to a point where I'd post something, and maybe within 2 days, someone would say, "Yeah, how much?" And I'd like, $1,200. Like, yes, sweet, transfer it over, and I'd send it off, or they'd come pick it up. So that was pretty intense. That was a crazy time. So if a piece didn't sell within the 2 days, I'd be like, fuck, it must be shit. I'd paint over it, and then like a day later, someone would go, "Hey man, can I buy this piece?" And I'd go, fuck. So I'd have to repaint it, and then so I've finally almost done with my custom pieces, and then I've got like a whole different range of art that I want to smash out. So
you're, did that give you the opportunity to sort of sufficiently live off that for a while there?
Mate, yeah, it was actually crazy. It was at the start, probably for the first 2 months when I was getting all these, 2-3 months, I was getting all these custom pieces, and I just wasn't like I didn't need to work. Some weeks I'd make $6-7 grand. Some weeks I'd make 10 grand, and some weeks I'd sell like 2, but that's still like 3 grand. You know what I mean? So
that's insane.
It was crazy, but it was just so overwhelming at the time, and I was partying so much when I moved back. I was just not in a bad place, but me and my ex had just split up. Sort of everything was all over the shop again, and I was like, fuck. The money was going out as fast as it was coming in. So I think just over the past maybe 2 months, I've started to sort of set my goals up, and then obviously the podcast is coming at a really good time as well in my life. So I think it's going to open up some more avenues like down the track.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I had one of my past guests on the pod, a friend of mine from Melbourne, Dom Gorsey. She does like the geometric illustration.
Oh wow!
So she does she's got a good business doing like, she does a heap of stuff for like basketball players, stars,
wow.
Celebrities, and she actually done the design for the pod.
Oh, really?
Which was cool, yeah, the little purple thing with
my
ugly mug in the middle of it. But funnily enough, I've got a massive ego move here. I've got that fucking on the wall above my bed at home. I'm not sure if that's forbidden, like to have a picture of yourself.
No
I feel
way,
like
bro.
Terry Crews with the fucking wrapper around and the grapes.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's super talented. But it's cool. I always love hearing about people. For me now, I'm a creator who lives off this. This is my bread and butter, running a pod full time. So, there are definitely challenges with it, right? And there's definitely some adversity you face.
Well, I'd never had my own business before, so I had to set it up as a business. Too much money was coming in, and then it took me a long time to get, because I'd have to send paintings out. I'd totally forget about sending them out because I was just focusing on the money coming in, and then I was painting a lot. So the gallery, when I look back at it, I probably should have signed on with this gallery, because the percentage that they were going to take was them organising the shipping, organising canvases, organising shows, and I mean, I don't regret it. Because it could potentially still be there, but I probably should have done that, because sometimes people would order paintings, and mate, I'd totally forget about it, and I'd just be like, shit. And and you're always going to get that in business. Like, even with some of the bloody t-shirts that I'd organised, the company that I paid the money to, they had to close up shop because they're based in Melbourne.
Yep.
So I'd paid them the money, and then they had to close down because of COVID. So I was like, fuck. Yeah. So they had the money for all these prints and stuff. So thankfully that's starting to come fix itself up, which is great. So
Whereabouts in Melbourne were you?
Mate, I was out in Yarra Valley. So that's out in the countryside.
Yeah, wow. I lived in Elwood.
Oh, okay, yeah. I didn't mind it down in Melbourne. It was, but it was just hard though when you move to a place. COVID hit, everyone has to stay in. So I'm living out in the fucking countryside and don't know nobody in Melbourne. So it was a bit stressful that time, but thankfully came back at the right time. And yeah,
it's funny because I was going to ask you what you thought of Melbourne, but living in COVID times probably quite similar. Like when I lived there, COVID wasn't a thing yet. I was there in 2018, but I work 7 days, so I get hit up all the time. People are like, I'm in Melbourne for the weekend, what should I do? Yeah. And I'm like, well, fuck, all I done was go to the office, so I have no idea. But it's a weird vibe down there. It's very different to Sydney.
Mate, massively, yeah. I just didn't like it. I think maybe if I lived closer to the city or something, and I had a few mates down there, like Josh Adokar, he's down there. I've known him for years. But yeah, it's sort of when I started to make friends and meet people down there, that the whole COVID situation sort of put that all at a halt, and I was like, fuck, this sucks. So,
I miss the coast too, eh? Like being, the coast is down there, but it's not the same as being on the beaches.
No way, bro, no way. So it was good to get back, and I mean, the boys are all super positive and stuff, so they all get behind me all the time. Like, Ice loves painting as well. So Isaac loves painting, so he'd come down here every Wednesday. Him and I were painting together and stuff, and he got behind me with the artwork, and that actually helped me pump it up as well. Epic. So so I think most likely in the next 2 months, once all the old stuff has been sorted, then I'll start new projects and learn from the mistakes that I made at that time. So because what I found is if you're trying to do new work and that stuff sitting at the back of your mind all the time, it just slows the whole process down and fucking
agreed.
Gives you the anxiety of doing.
Bro, it's like with any job, there's qualifications that are required, and you're about to dive into Jordan's room, you're diving into talk relationships, life, a little bit of advice in the dating scene. I'm really keen to hear what you think the qualifications are, and almost pitch this to the audience as if you're pitching a resume.
Mate, it's some to be honest with you, I'm not really giving too much advice, because I've broken up with my past three ex-girlfriends, past three girlfriends. So it's more just what I'm trying to do is like, there's like it's almost even just for myself as well, because I let out this vibe that this is what I've been told, I'm a fuck boy.
Okay.
I'm a player, fuck boy. So, which I'm not. You guys,
course,
you don't believe me.
No, I believe you, bro. I believe you. We're supportive here on the pod. On the experience of support.
So I just, I sort of just want to get the insights of how to talk to girls, how to approach girls, how girls think. What else? mate. Even just a few short ball for the boys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I'm excited. I'm so excited to see how it goes. I think the first episode is going to be dropping like next week.
Yep.
Or potentially even the next few days. But yeah, it's gonna be a laugh. Like we talk about some pretty not out there. I mean, everyone. This is the thing. Everyone
talks about
this stuff with their friends. They talk about it, with the people from work. It's out there, but as you said, it's taboo. A lot of people feel a little bit nervous about talking about this stuff. So I'm just going to chuck it out there, and people will take it as is.
Is it tough to sort of like, especially if you're, I don't know if you're going to be playing much on past experiences and past relationships, but do you have to reach out to those girls and say, hey, look, we're starting a pod. Maybe there's going to be a few things we drop in there. I'm not going to try to soil your name, but
I never name names, but I've been in 3 relationships back to back, really. So, I mean, you're always going to go back to, you're always going to think I'm talking about an ex and those experiences, but I really want to make sure that it doesn't come off as disrespectful.
Of course.
I don't. Everyone's got mum, everyone's got a sister, so I don't want it to come off as disrespectful to females. So, but I mean, the girls that I've had on, they've said, some crazy stuff, so I just want to build trust with a new audience, and it's going to be crack up. So,
it's an idea, maybe this will work for you, is come up with a couple of code names.
Well, sorry, I was going to say that.
I'm trying to think what movie it is. I can't recall it at the moment, but there's a movie or a TV show where they have that. They have the code names for the girls. Yeah, no,
well, there's a segment in Jordan's room called Pillow Talk. So every so many episodes we'll do Pillow Talk, where it's sort of just Ice and I, and maybe Justin or Corey or whoever it may be. We just come on and we sort of talk about our own experiences. So, Ice did it the other day, and I don't know, I was so nervous about we were talking about, I don't know if you've seen it on, he posted it, but we're talking about one time I had like a one night stand, and I'm nervous because you're like, shit, girls are going to see this and they're going to think,
oh, this guy's a player.
This guy's a fucking player. But I mean, it is what it is. But in the podcast that I've had with the girls that have come on so far, we don't name names. One of the guys are called Cookie Monster and Aladdin.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, so like we never name names too, and I mean, unless they want to, but it's majority of the time I just make up nicknames on the spot, like Frodo Baggins and shit
I like that.
Yeah,
it's funny. It's you just said there, like, you respect that everyone's got a mum and a daughter, and and I'm very much like that, man. Like when I, shout out to myself here, when I meet some lovely ladies, I'd like to think that
you
respect
single?
them. Yeah, I'm
grouse.
single, so I like to respect the way that. I'd like my sister to be like my sister. She's blessed, amazing partner. I told you I'm going to hang out with them tonight. Bit of dinner here up in the city, and I look at that and I go, fuck, like I love that he respects her. Like I love that he's a good human, and I love that the people who my dad respects his partner, my mum's partner respects her. We've got a crazy family dynamic where mum and dad have been separated for like 12, 13 years. Yeah. But we had Chrissy Brecky together at mum's house.
Yeah,
like,
grouse.
It's such a good vibe, and that's how it should be.
Yeah.
Like, and I think what you're doing will help that. But it's funny, because sometimes you don't realise, but, mum's one of my biggest supporters. She comments on everything on IG. If you scroll through my IG posts, give it a cheeky double tap, but also check those comments and you'll see mum always posts a love heart and some praying hands. She's about what I'm about. And, one night she actually tuned into, I done a Friday Night Live on Instagram, right? This was like sort of early days of the pod for me, and I was trying to get some stuff out there and grow my audience, and I was blessed that very early on in his comic career, Joe Damon and I connected, and Joey D come on the pod. He was episode 13.
Oh, true.
And we had a belter, a really good yarn, and he's come on again since. But I hit up a few people to do like this IG live, and I got 4 different people on in an hour, so it was 15 minutes each, and just shoot the shit and hold it like almost like a talk show, right?
Yeah.
And Joey D was the first guy up, and he ended up spending about half an hour just spitting pure comedy off the bat, right? And I'm watching, there's like Di Driver's watching. Shout out to my mum, Di, love you. And
shout out, Di.
She pops up and she's watching, and she's giving the little hand claps and the love hearts in the comment section there, and plenty of people are jumping in, and then next minute Joe Damon's talking about Kentucky Fried Chicken and somehow moves that into eating his girlfriend's ass. And I'm just like, yeah, sick mum's watching this, but you know, I guess that's part of running it live. It's one of the risks, right?
Oh yeah, that's a funny story, man.
Yeah.
That's fucked
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
It's exactly, bro. And that's the whole one of the experiences about this is like in the back of my mind, because I've actually got 2 daughters. A lot of people don't know. I've got 2 daughters. I was engaged, and me and my ex, we're mates again.
Well, there you go, Chris and Morning vibes, bro.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Insane.
So I've gone out. Like they live up in just past Byron.
Yeah.
They live up there now, so I go up there and visit them, and her and I have got a pretty good relationship now.
That's good
and
to hear.
I think that's the thing about my podcast is like it's going to be pretty raunchy, and we talk about some crazy out there stuff, but like the whole respect thing is like massive for me, because I don't want females to be like, oh, I don't want to come on. So majority of the girls have come on so far, and that I have coming on is a friends of mine, and I've built that trust to be able to talk about that.
Definitely.
But obviously you're going to run out of people that to come on, so you're going to reach out to new people, new girls that that you don't know, and I want them to be able to watch a few of the podcasts, and we're going to do like a little bit of a mini episode just to send to people if they're like, oh, what is it about or whatever. So
I like that. It's a great idea.
I want it to be. We're even going to talk about some really big issues, even with relationships, with exes, things like that. I'm getting Justin's ex is coming on.
Yeah, so, nice. I've heard a little bit of banter about this, hey?
Yeah, mate, yeah, she's...
Is he sweating bullets? He's sweating like a fucking bag of cats at a greyhound meet right now.
Mate, he's actually quite tight with her. He's good mates with her, and we've all got on the piss heaps together, and she's a straight shooter too. She's fucking one of the funniest girls I've ever met, so she's keen to come on. So, as I said, I've got that sex psychologist coming on. And we're gonna
that? If you're allowed to say.
No. I can't. Sorry, off the top of my head, I can't remember the company's name, but I just literally Googled it, and they were the first person that came up. I shot them an email, and they said that they were keen to come on, and I want. There's so many questions about all these things, and so I want to find out the psychology of why people do certain things, and because I believe it can help a lot of guys out there as well that have issues with talking to females, or issues with sex, issues with keeping a girlfriend happy, things like that. So it's not just all going to be fun and games. I want it to genuinely help people out. So
right, keeping a girlfriend happy, that could be a fucking 10-hour pod.
Oh,
that one,
fuck,
right?
man.
Joe Rogan vibes.
That's a whole season.
Yeah, Joe Rogan vibes. Yeah.
Oh, we keep them to about 40 minutes. So, but yeah, no, that's a tough one. I mean, so it's gonna be pretty cool. But I have found that since since I started painting, and then the podcast, the whole dynamic of like girls for myself has changed as well. Like it's been pretty crazy. Like I've found it not easier, but like talking to girls has become a lot a lot easier.
It's funny you say that, because I can confirm that hasn't happened for me. So. Maybe I'm gonna start. Maybe I'm gonna start painting, eh?
Mate, it was quite cool, because as I said, I've always been this type of person, right? And from an outsider's perspective, if you haven't met me, you go, this guy's a player, or this guy's a fuckboy. But I think when people get to know me, they're like, shit, this guy, he's in touch with his, artistic side, and
100%.
So,
bro, how old are you?
I'm 29.
29.
People think I'm like fucking 35 sometimes.
No, bro, I thought you were younger, eh? I thought you were a little bit younger.
Thank you.
Bro, you kind of looks like Izzy Folau, you reckon? You got those Izzy Folau vibes about you, bro. There's a few rumours that Izzy's coming to the Gong. Maybe you've just been down on a weekend.
I've just been walking around with my shirt off. Nah, mate. I've been getting that and Takiaho. I've been getting that for years, bro. So unfortunately, I can't play like them at all. But it was a compliment until the whole scenario with the whole case, and then people were like, you look like Izzy, and I'm like, whoa.
Hey, don't say that too loud.
So
it's bro, one of the things that we've shot here, a bit of banter today, a bit of deep and meaningful stuff too, but my pod is all about, when I pitch this to people and people say, why would I listen to the experience? I say, it's about encouraging people to find purpose in life.
Yes, bro.
And
yeah,
just
I love
showing
that,
you that whatever adversity you face, you can come out the other side of it. Are there any of those little life lessons? We spoke a little bit off camera, off record before about some of those life lessons and those little gratefuls that we have in our days and our weeks that make you appreciate, how blessed we are to be here.
100%, man. And I think for myself, I think, when I was younger, I got a scholarship, fucking was playing footy, Western Force Academy, Australian, the schoolboys. Like, I think a lot of the time when you sort of go through your 20s, partying's such a massive thing because, it's, you sort of like, fuck, what is my purpose in life, And I always meet friends and stuff that hit me up and they're like, man, they just don't know what's going on. And I was in that situation too. And I found with art was that purpose for myself. I found like makes me happy. I enjoy doing it. And then obviously with the podcast now, it's given me more stuff to do. So for me, I think one guy told me, my mentor told me when I was younger, he said to me, work as many jobs as possible before you're 30. And I've heard that before, like on podcasts and shit. Like, try as many things as you can as you can before you turn 30, because you get stuck in like a bit of a rut with your job and whatever you're doing, that you put all the things that actually make you happy, whether it be work or like life situations, behind you, and then 30 sneaks up on you and you're like, shit, like I'm doing a job I don't like, I'm partying, it's too much, I don't have anything to show for what I'm doing, like what I've done over the past few years. So I've always like the amount of jobs that I've done is just insane, and I mean, art was the last thing pretty much. Only started a year and a half ago, and I was like, shit, it took me that long to find something but you have to be actively seeking.
Yeah.
So I worked in the mines for an engineering company. Came over here, worked for Fitness First, worked my way up there to, working as sales manager for Fitness First. Then finished that. I worked for Ray White.
Real estate, eh?
Yeah, mate. Yeah,
I was a real estate agent for a bit there.
I was smashing it. I was smashing it up in the Goldie, and then moved down here, and I was working at the Caltex oil refinery.
Yeah.
I was working there for a bit.
Jack of all trades, bro.
Mate, and then before that, I was a national sales manager for Lacoste and Nautica. Yeah. And then I just wanted to try as many things as possible. You know what I mean?
That's life experience, isn't it? I'll say, if you follow me on socials, you'd see I put up yesterday, and by yesterday I think it's like the 2nd or 3rd of Feb, or somewhere. Actually, it's the fucking 5th of Feb, actually. Yeah. So it would have been the 4th of Feb. I put on my socials. I'm trying to get back into reading, right? I feel like for me, reading puts me in a good place where I get even more creative. My use of language becomes even greater, which is, amazing when you've got a pod.
Too,
It's so important. But I find for me, it's a way to disconnect from my phone and put my phone away for a bit. And, I say this like I've read 100 books. I think I've read fucking 5 books in my life. My go-to, the one that got me back into it, and actually was one of the reasons I quit my job in 2019 or at the start of 2020, I should say, was The Alchemist. Okay. And I've struggled to get back into reading, and I picked that book up again because I thought maybe that'll ignite the passion for it. Yeah. And it's been nice diving back into that. But one of the things within the first 20 pages of that book is it really talks about personal legends or your personal purpose. Yeah. And it says that a man's only real obligation in life is to find his personal legend and to find what he's here to do. And I fucking love that theory because I think, even listening to a pod yesterday with Naval Ravikant on Joe Rogan, I've listened to that one a couple times now.
I was listening to that this morning.
Epic. It's so smart, that dude.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. And did you find that, I've had situations where someone's told me something, but you almost already know in the back of your mind.
100%
But it's not like activated until someone says something, and it's almost like you already knew that. Like as you said,
it's within you, man.
100%. Like everyone, one of the things for me with YKTR and the whole opportunity that I've been given by the boys is, I remember when I first met Ice, and he was at his apartment. He was just full on packing orders, and they started the vlogs, and there's always people that will go, try and knock it down, but what I've seen that's inspiring for myself is that, once you do find something that you like, and a lot of people already know what they enjoy doing, but they're so scared to take that leap because they're scared of what other people will think.
Yeah.
But what I found is if you keep doing it, and this was me with art, like a lot of people that I know, even personally, were sort of having a laugh at my expense. They're like, what the fuck, this guy's doing art, but I genuinely enjoyed it. So, because to put something out there like that for yourself as well with your first podcast, it's like, you're like, shit, it's nerve-wracking. So what I found is that if you find your purpose, or you put yourself out there to do something that you enjoy, you attract people in your life that will just accept it, and the people that are sort of talking shit or that having a laugh at your expense, you almost end up breaking away from them, and then you just attract people that are like-minded, positive, and on the same journey with their own goals. So
yeah, definitely. The perfect quote to attach to that is Jay Shetty. He says, "Protect your purpose, and it'll protect you."
Yeah, man.
And I think that's massive.
That's exactly right.
It takes a real lot of guts to stand up for what you want in life, to go after what you believe you can achieve. And I watched, it was last Friday night actually, I was sitting up at home, had the family around, bit of dinner, and we always throw a movie on Netflix, and we threw 8 Mile on. I'd never watched it, right?
Oh, you've never watched it?
Never watched it.
I've watched that thing about bloody 100 times.
I fucking finished watching that movie, and I was so like...
Pumped.
Just so pumped, because you sit there and you go, that guy come from a trailer park. Yeah. In the murder capital of the US, Detroit. Yeah. And he's now worth $200 and something million. Yeah. And
he was a white guy in the neighborhood too,
100%, which is just in itself is crazy within that scene. And I watched that and I think really anyone can make it. You just got to believe. You got to have no doubt, because if you don't believe in yourself, why would anyone else?
100%, man. And I've had experiences like that too, where where I'm from in New Zealand, South Auckland, not as crazy as Detroit, but coming from South Auckland, which is like probably the crazy, like one of the baddest places in New Zealand, to then coming here and coming to Australia and doing these things now, it's like it's pretty surreal, and I feel like it. Oh, do you need to touch that or?
Oh, it's all good. Bro.
Oh, sweet. I feel like, it's. You can. I think once you get past the insecurities of caring what other people think, then you're unstoppable. Like it's insane. But that 8 Mile movie is, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. It just shows you, no matter where you're from or what you're doing in life, you can genuinely get to where you want to go if you're passionate about it.
100%. Life is so short, and I've been blessed. I say all the time, I've been blessed that with my health stuff and my CF, that I learned those lessons early on, that nothing's promised. And whilst I've had the blessings of pretty good health for someone with cystic fibrosis, you see the community around me who struggle, and unfortunately a lot of people pass at a young age, and it just makes you realise that nothing in life is promised. Whether you're born with an issue or not, we all face challenges and adversity. And if you're sitting around, wondering whether someone will be offended by what you want to do or pursue, whether you think that someone won't support it, the real ones will. And, if somebody doesn't support what you're doing and what you want to achieve in life, they're not the right person to be in your circle. So
100%. Yeah, 100%.
I was saying to Scope before, it's one of the things I love about the vibe that you boys have got, Obviously, it's attractive to be following, guys that are in that scene and living that life. But there's a real level of authenticity between you boys, and you've got a very supportive crew and a supportive network. That whilst you have your great banter, everyone's there to pump everyone on, and it's really nice to see.
Well, you're right, mate. I mean, when I came back from Melbourne, just going through a pretty rough patch, and I was partying up a storm, like hard out, and the boys sort of, if I didn't have them there for that support, then it would, who knows. But I think if you make a conscious decision to make changes in your life, then the right people will come around you, but you have to step outside of yourself and change that. So it takes a lot of people a long time to do that. I've only done it recently, actually. So, the boys are grouse, man. They're also positive, and they're just doers as well. You know, they're just like Ice doesn't, doesn't talk much. He just does it. You know, he'll tell you one time, and he'll just go with it. So
actions speak louder than words.
Mate, yeah, and that's one thing that I'm trying to be pretty big on myself. You know, I'm a fucking talk a lot of shit, but I'm trying to make that effort to follow through with like in anything, training, health, fitness, fucking reading books. So
you're part of the Kiddies Run Club,
mate. I was bit inconsistent on that one. I've been last two times, but yeah, just even that, mate. Like I remember coming back, and Hoz is. He's just a doer as well, you know. He gets up in the mornings early. We all wake up pretty early. I wake up at about 4 o'clock in the mornings. You know, he'll be like, "Let's go train." Yeah, mate. Yeah, I'm
a 4:45, and most people fucking scrunch their nose up at that.
Mate, sometimes I wake up at like 3. It's just, but he's a doer as well. He just like gets up, trains and stuff. So I feel like if you're looking to make changes in your life, it starts off with the morning, you know.
Definitely.
Getting up, training, getting after it.
What's the little quote you dropped before we started the pod? You're talking about why old people get up in the mornings.
Oh, mate. So
how's this? Get ready for this one. Fucking strap yourself in.
It's not that crazy, but I met this old bloke back in a few years back, and I used to wake up at like 7:30, 8 o'clock, and this old fella just says to me, he's like, have you ever realized why old people are always up early and walking around and stuff, and you don't really see it until someone tells you that. And he just goes, they wake up early because they don't have much time left. So when he said that to me, I was like, shit. And then you see a lot of old people going for swims, going for walks, and it just goes back to the saying, just stop and smell the roses and enjoy the little things, So
yeah, I echo that.
So I've always been massive on waking up early, and so all the other boys. Like we all wake up relatively early, try and make most of the day, because you got 24 hours in a day. So if you wake up early, you get all your little shit out of the way by bloody 9 o'clock at smoker.
It's great, eh?
Yeah.
I was saying to a heap of people that 2020 best year of my life by far. For all the challenges and the adversity we had, there were so many great things that come out of that year, and a big part of it was that.
How long have you been doing this for?
I've been doing this, so anniversary's coming up.
Oh, really?
Mark it in your calendars, the 12th of Feb.
Yeah, what are we doing?
Bro, we're
maybe
you boys are doing Q&A. Maybe Q&A followed by an early morning down the beach for a run and a coffee or something. But it's been the best year of my life by far, and I fully finished my job in April, 30th of April. I walked away from real estate full time. I walked away from a fair bit of money and took a real risk. But a big part of this year being the best year of my life was being up early every day. It's a habit that I didn't create until I'd left work.
Yeah.
I used to drag myself out of bed at like 6:37 to go have 3 coffees while I worked.
Yeah, 100%. Real estate's
was just hating my life for a little while there. And that's, like I've always said on the pod, I worked with amazing people, but I just didn't have passion or purpose in that role anymore. But once you find a bit of purpose and direction in your life, once you get up with the sun and get your day started and just get out there and fucking train and get some endorphins in.
I know everyone talks about getting up early and all that shit, but I mean, if you stick to it and you actually make it, like, it changes your whole life. Like
100%.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. The difference between waking up, 3-4 hours earlier. You have so much more time to think. And, we go for a swim pretty much every morning. We go down to the beach every morning. So I'll be training with a few of the boys, with Travi. Do you know Travi?
Travis Young?
Yeah,
I know. I've just seen him getting around a few of the boys.
So him and I, I'm going to start training with him every day, like at their gym. So yeah, it changes your whole life. But it's funny too because, when you meet, like if you're going out on dates or whatever, you're seeing a girl, and then I'm like, are you sure you want to stay over?
Yeah.
And they're like, I'm like, I get up pretty early. They're like, what's that? I'm like, 4 o'clock. We'll go for a beach walk and go for a swim and shit. And they're just like, what the fuck? Like, they're like, no way. So, I mean, it's not for everyone, but yeah.
Got to ask, bro, maybe a bit of advice here, maybe a bit of advice for the fellas that are listening, maybe even for the ladies that are listening. If you're going to have someone stay over and get up and do that morning routine, let's be real, right?
Yeah.
Morning shit's probably a part of that. How does that go down? How does that go down the first encounter?
Mate,
do you sneak away?
It depends. Are you at their house or your house?
Let's say you're at your house, right?
Okay.
And I've got a mate that his theory is you just speak out loud and proud about it. You announce to the room, hey, I'm going to do my morning business.
Is this like the first time that you guys...
First time.
There's a few ways you can look at it. Like, thankfully, we've got like a big house. We live in a big house, so we've got 4 options. We've got 3 options. We've got 4 options.
Escape in the backyard for a push shit.
Yeah, well, next door fucking Mellows shit. Next door Hoz's dog shit. But well, this is the thing, right? Not everyone wakes up early. Yeah. So okay. I'll run downstairs here and just use this one down here. But if you don't have that option, you have to limit your eating the night before. Yeah. So you have to have a real light meal. Yeah. Make sure you're not eating too much. Maybe a smoothie, a bit of water, so you don't need to do that. Or you fucking get up early. Get up early before they even wake up. I'm talking like 3-4 hours early. Let the dust settle. But you got to you got to get up early. That's the secret, mate. I'm not telling a girl like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna take a shit. Give me 2 secs. Yeah. Especially too if you've got the shower toilet mix in one room. You don't want to be like, oh, you take a shit and then she's like, oh, hey, can I use the toilet or can I go for a shower? And you're like, fuck, not yet, please. So. There's a bit of insight. Absolute
gems there. Fucking who needs Matt Hussey when you got Jordan Simi?
No, that's it.
Bro, it's been an absolute pleasure, honestly, awesome, to sit here and chat. Like I said, for all the banter that we've had today and all the laughs, you're a really good character. You're a really
Thanks, bro. I appreciate
it,
man. I appreciate it, bro. And I'm like, it's cool to have this opportunity. I've always felt like this is something that I've been really interested in doing for a long time. My long-term and short-term goal is I want to create the platform with the boys, create a really good income and from it, and and also with my art is I really want to help like underprivileged children that have had like a rough start to their life. So that's where I want to go in life. So to be able to even come on here with you and to be a part of YKTR is like, I feel like it's the right direction for me where I want to go and helping people. So I appreciate it. I really do.
I really love to hear that. And for what it's worth, you got my support the whole way. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you get across and follow this guy on the socials. What's your socials?
It's just jordan.simi.
Yeah, epic. That's SIMI.
And Painted Jordan's my art page. So
get around that too, because I follow
thanks,
that.
Man. I appreciate it.
That's doozy as. And get around the pod when it launches, Jordan's Room. Yeah. Over on the YKTR YouTube channel. But if you just search Jordan's Room on podcast app and Spotify, no doubt that you'll see that pop up immediately. I want to say thank you to the sponsors. Thank you to Jim's Mowing and fucking Husqvarna for their latest V8 hot rod lawnmower with a sound amplifier that you would have had the chance to hear throughout the course of the whole pod today. Yeah. Fucking beautiful timing. It's, they must all communicate because I swear every time I do a pod at home, the guys mowing the council
park. The next door neighbour, it's like they do it like they wake up early in the mornings too. Sometimes when you're hungover, I get back from a fucking 2-dayer. I'm just trying to sleep and the next door neighbour just comes out with the bloody lawnmower just sitting outside my window. But yeah, fucking hell. As they do. That's how life goes. Guys and girls, thank you so much for jumping around the pod as always. Like, subscribe, give us a 5-star rating and a raving review. That's what we're all about. Get around us on the socials at Bradley J Driver, and you can just find the experience where you're listening to it now. Love you, work.